First things first, I'm going to put the Arctic exhibits back in the LEGO City. I think that's a great way to start this LEGO City update. Sure, I'm going to have to haul it back up there in the near future when I continue working on the zoo, but now we can actually see what it looks like here in the city. It sort of needs to be here too, because eventually I'm going to start working on the botanical garden surroundings, and in order to do that, I need to see these rocks and how they line up with this raised platform here so I can bridge this large gap. Recently, we expanded the downtown core with the addition of this block, and our main goal today is to start developing this block. Also, we want to add some more details to the downtown core. First off, starting with the serious stuff, I'm not a huge fan of the Quickie Mart right here. It's a great set, but I don't think it belongs there, and I don't like this ring road going around it either. Going to relocate that tunnel entrance and eliminate that ring road by turning one of the T's into a curve and replacing the Quickie Mart pull-in. And I think a set that's going to look great here is actually the bowling alley and its parking lot. It's the same size or same dimension as the Quickie Mart, and now we're just going to play Tetris with a bunch of other modular buildings to try and fill in this area. I'm thinking the tuning shop, maybe some of the townhouses, maybe even Sesame Street. I haven't quite decided yet. While we think about that, we're going to place the Quickie Mart where the bowling alley used to be, and I'm going to fix up all these roads, because of course if you move something that has specialized roads, you've got to transplant the roads, especially when there's bicycle lanes involved. So there was the specialized road for the one-way parking lot for the bowling alley, and then there's the specialized road for pulling into the Quickie Mart, and I essentially need to swap up those, but it's not as easy as just swapping them. I've got to dissect them, transplant sidewalks with pull-ins and bicycle lanes and all that stuff. So I just try to go through and make all these necessary changes to those road plates without creating a disaster, and for the most part I think I did a pretty good job. Now we actually did add 2 more roads here because there's the pull-in for the Quickie Mart, but I'm looking at this as a positive because it was so hard to reach in front of the Ministry of Magic there. So by replacing buildings with roads, I can actually reach in there, and I'm pretty happy with that. Back to this area over here. Oh my gosh, there's some new buildings. That's because Mrs. Bricksie's here and she's moving some stuff around. We're trying to find a home for the university, that tuning shop, the diner, some other little custom modular buildings that were originally in the amusement park, and just trying to make this area come to life. Even though at this point we don't have enough buildings to fill these streets, we're just trying to make do with what we have and make this place look a little bit better than it already does. Now that we've got all that stuff shifted around, it's time to add some more details to the city. So we've prepped this 48 by 48 plate and just loaded it full of awesome stuff. We've got streetlights, minifigures on, bicycles, all sorts of city population, some dogs for a new idea that we have, speed signs, crosswalk signs, stop and yield signs, some minifigures for Pop Culture Street, a single traffic light, a whole bunch of sapling trees built with the fern elements and candlesticks, some fire hydrants, and a couple newspaper stands. So a whole bunch of good stuff for the LEGO City. This is where the fun begins, because of course we can tell fun stories with minifigures and all these little details. Yes, I love doing this with 2 people. So thankful that Mrs. Bricksie is now working at the studio because I'm no longer lonely. We're working together as a team and it just is amazing. So look at us go, ripping around the LEGO City, placing all the new trees, all those details that you saw there, the street lights, the traffic light, the stop signs, crosswalks, all that different type of stuff. Also, I noticed that there was a lot of dust. So people always ask me, how do you manage the dust in your city? Well, unfortunately, when you move sets like this, whether it be sets on the shelf or sets in the city or you're making city changes, you just got to dust it. So I grab a little makeup brush and I grab my big vacuum with the bristle tip, and I pretty much, I'm like a paleontologist, okay? I'm dusting it with the makeup brush, but I'm holding the dust or the vacuum right beside the duster, and it's picking up all of the dust as it comes off the set. Because if you just dust it with the makeup brush or whatever, it just transfers the dust from A to B. So you got to have the vacuum there, and you've got to be vacuuming while you're doing that. But we're sort of popping all over the place right now. We're adding these details in the front section, all the way by the beach, in the new section of downtown, populating it with minifigures, moving some of the vehicles around, even putting a big helicopter on top of a skyscraper, and just doing all sorts of stuff. I think this type of stuff is endless. You can never have enough of it. And I think as time goes on, you just continue to add more and more and more details, and eventually it looks epic. You know what I like doing? I like looking at some of my old LEGO City videos. If you haven't seen my old LEGO City videos, make sure you check them out. If you go back and watch, I don't know, September 2023 layout, or October, November, December, any of those like old videos that I had on my old layout when it was like pristine and it was jam-packed and it was pretty much done. It's so epic just watching those videos. Like even me, I go back and I'm like, holy cow, it looked so good. There was so many minifigures, so many stories. There was details everywhere. The city was just jam-packed, but there was still sight lines and visibility everywhere. It wasn't too much. It was just perfect. And eventually, in the years to come, we are going to make this place like my old layout. Just incredible. I am so excited about it. And days like this just put a smile on my face. Of course, we created a bunch of holes in the LEGO City, and we want to fill those with Mills plates, so we created 6 32 by 32s and 1 48 by 48. I also fixed up these corners here. I had to round them out. These are the 2 T intersections by the Octane gas station, and then I also had to round this corner out as well because it was like a right angle and it didn't look too good. Unfortunately, we're out of the quarter round tiles. That's why these particular parts are missing, but we do have more on order. All right, everybody, we're slowly but surely making our way toward the amusement park with modular buildings. So cool. I'm happy that we were able to give this area some love here just because it was a sea of green base plates, then we built the roads, and now we're adding some modular buildings, which I think is great. We also decided to take these little modular buildings out of the amusement park for now. That's the costume shop and also the Starbucks. We moved the Lego store right there along with the downtown diner because that sort of matches up with the bowling alley. The bowling alley has a nice little parking lot and it's a one-way street, so of course we've got stop signs there, and of course you're going to see all sorts of stop signs all throughout the city where they make sense, along with the traffic controls, speed signs, and all that. Now in regards to parking, we're thinking about making a small parking lot right there. We've got 1.5 base plates open for the taking there, so we could put a parking lot there, and we've moved the university right over here. It looks like the university had some battle damage. I'll have to try and repair that, but we want to build a nice courtyard for the university in this open space here. I think the tuning shop works good in this position here because it's got some detail on the back. It's not like an ugly back. So having a look at it from this perspective is pretty nice. It's sort of a building that can be presented in both directions. And the Monster Fighters Haunted House is the same. You can look at that from all angles, and I think it just looks beautiful. I wanted to keep this area nice and low. I didn't want to move the skyscrapers here because, of course, we have the Ninjago buildings, and eventually I'll be developing that Ninjago district, and I didn't want the tall buildings to block that. That rounded out corner there looks pretty good in front of the Octane gas station, and I'm glad that I was able to round out this corner over here for the amusement park turnoff as well, and we've got some fun stories happening all throughout the streets. You'll probably notice that there is a bunch of dogs on those 4 base plates. Mrs. Bricksie and I were trying to think of what we could do with all of this open space, and we came up with a pretty cool idea of making a dog park right here. It's going to sit on these 4 base plates, but first off, we're going to have a seating area right here for the downtown diner. It's going to be an outdoor seating area, and this is going to be a detailed dog park. In the past, we've had a dog park. It was a temporary filler spot, but this time we want to build it nice. We're going to put some elevation in it. There's going to be some trees and bushes, a nice pathway, and I think we're going to build a stone wall around the entire thing, and that's going to be on the foot of this mountain, which is going to bulge out here in the Ninjago area. So I'm really excited about that. I was thinking about starting it today, but then it's like, wait a minute, let's do it right. Let's give it some nice elevation. Let's Mills plate it. Let's go all in on a really nice dog park, which will be right behind these buildings. And of course, those are townhouses, so I'm pretty excited about having a dog park behind townhouses. I think it just makes sense. Also, I'm excited about the elimination of the road, so there's no longer that loop. Are able to allocate space to making cool things like a dog park and having the mountain, so vehicles that come this way can pass through the tunnel toward the countryside or make their way to the loop over there where they can turn around, or of course park in the parking lot for the bowling alley. Now there is a lot of open space right here, and this space is sort of weird. It's not a full base plate. It sort of looks like a full base plate, but it's not. And that's because this train station is a very weird size. Somebody did mention that what I should do is turn this train station 180 degrees and have the entrance on this side and build a grand entrance. Sounds like a really good idea, but in order to do that, I would have to redo all of this work. I'm probably going to stick with my original plan of converting this into parking spaces on either side of the train station for vehicles so people can park and ride. And then we have all this open space here for more buildings. I could build 16 stud buildings, like 16 by 16. For example, these two modular buildings right there, which are custom builds, are 16 by 16. So we could fit a few of those right there. So that's probably what we'll end up doing. And then of course we have all of this open space for the taking as well. It's a giant battle on Pop Culture Street. It is going down. I love the fact that we have the Black Widow helicopter up there. That is so cool. It's on top of that giant skyscraper. And there's a lot more stories happening here. There are minifigures absolutely everywhere. It is a multiverse of madness. You're going to see a lot of duplicate minifigures such as Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, all sorts of Iron Mans, and a bunch of other ones as well. There's so many stories here, I think I can't really point them out. You really just have to take it all in and just admire it for yourself, because I think you could look on these city streets for a long time and not see it all. And that's what I really like about Lego city building, is the fact that you can create all of these fun stories. And my Lego city will never not have a Pop Culture Street. I think it's imperative that we have a Pop Culture Street here, because Lego is designed to be creative and they're designed to have fun with it. And I like, you know, integrating a little bit of fiction into my Lego city streets, and I've always been that way, and I'll definitely stick to that. So a lot of street lights have been put all throughout, also a lot of fire hydrants as well, which I think just adds to the whole detail and storytelling of this city, just sort of elevates it. And then also a bunch of those trees have been replaced as well. We were using the pre-molded trees, but then we created our own little trees using the candlesticks and fern elements. So I think that looks great. Something else that I'm really happy with is the position of the Quickie Mart. And something that I didn't realize about its new position until I got it placed is the fact that it works out beautifully. We've got the Simpsons themed aligned. We've got both epic Simpsons sets in a line. So you can see the Quickie Mart, and just above that in the residential area is the Simpsons house. So I'm really happy with that. In regards to the residential area, we didn't get a chance to detail it today. It's going to be quite a bit because we have to build custom road ramps. And I'm not talking about this massive custom road ramp here. I'm talking about the mini ones, which will bring vehicles up to this section of the residential area. So we're going to have to build those on either side, and then we also have to add all the street lights, all the details, everything like that. So that's going to require its own day to get it done correctly. Also, we need to bring a bunch of minifigures up here. Looks like we've got to do some mills work and more dusting. I was going around doing as much dusting as I could for today, but there's always a lot of dust, and I like to try and keep on top of it. Whenever I see it, I try to get rid of it. But we've got more pop culture over here. It's one of the other reasons why I wanted to bring the Quickie Mart over here, is because it aligns with the Simpsons house, and that all aligns with Pop Culture Street in general, because we've got Harry Potter, we've got superheroes, we've got Simpsons, and you can see all the Harry Potter goodness inside Diagon Alley, which of course has an entrance on the other side. And there's another entrance right here as well by the bank, except we've got a couple wizards that fell over. Uh-oh, I should probably straighten those out. There's the other entrance that I was talking about. That goes into Nocturne Alley, just around the corner from the Weasley Wizard Wheezes. And that's built into the custom facades of 12 Grimwald Place there, right beside the Ministry of Magic. And finishing up Pop Culture Street is Sesame Street, which is always a lot of fun. Also, we've got a little battle that's about to go down there. It looks like some of the Harry Potter crew has actually made their way out onto the streets in front of the Quickie Mart. And that, of course, is right across the street from the town hall. I still need to figure out how I'm going to feed this canal. I still need to work on this canal around the Venetian houses. My plan is to raise those up, and I am going to be doing that. And they still will be fed from up here. I've got a new plan for this area. I haven't revealed that yet. It's going to be epic. It involves more elevation and a really neat way to integrate water into this whole area, which can feed down into the zoo and also into the canal and also into the countryside as well. I think it's going to be super cool. This area just looks so good. I'm in love with it. It looks great. We do have some open base plates now though. For example, there's 2 right here. There's another 2 right there. And then 1 more right here where the Lego store used to be. I wanted to move the Lego store because it didn't really match the height of my bigger garage there. So I think getting it out of there made sense, and having it over by the amusement park makes sense as well. We would take more modular buildings that make sense over there, such as the Disney costume shop, but I really don't want to get too aggressive with moving modular buildings out of here just because this is the downtown core. This is where it all started. If I start making a ton of holes, it's not really going to look that good. So I've really got to keep that in mind. But I think we took just the perfect amount. Like we took 5 out of here and shuffled them down to fill up that block. I think I'm happy with the end result. Of course, it could always change. That's the benefit of having a modular Lego city laid out in a grid, is things can just be moved so easily. We can shuffle things around. Of course, it's going to create the domino effect because you're going to have holes and you're going to have details such as road plates and road configurations that have to be remade. But I think all the changes that were made today were quite positive. We've got more stories, more traffic control, more little details, and an expanded downtown core. Stay tuned for some more great stuff because, of course, we're going to continue working on the Lego City pretty much every day. Also, please remember to like, subscribe, and have yourselves a fantastic day. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.